Hello everyone, it's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Saturday, December 31st, New Year's Eve. Hope you're doing well today. Going to get started with today's live stream. Going to do a little bit of a different format. Wanted to come on and send off 2022 with you all. It's been a great year. I think a lot of us are ready to put it behind us. But essentially going to say goodbye to 2022. Appreciate everybody joining the stream today. And let's join together, friends, for one last time in 2022 as we embrace 2023. And just very grateful to be here experiencing all of this with you all. I know it's been a rough year, but we have lots to be thankful for, and thankful and grateful for each and every one of you who supported me along the way. And I'll continue to support you on this journey as we look toward 2023. So we're going to get started in just a few moments. If you could smash like, help support me in the channel. We'll get started here in about 15 seconds or so. I see we have some people joining the stream. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for joining. And we'll get started here in about 5 to 10 seconds. All right, going to get started with today's live stream. Like I said, a little bit of a different format today as we say goodbye to 2022 and say hello to 2023. Another year has come and gone. Like I said, a lot of people probably not too sad that 2022 is over. Given the year in the stock market, I think it's been one of the worst since 2008. And you know, it's easy to get caught up in the short-term events that we experience. You know, especially when it comes to, you know, investing or money. So I wanted to come on, do a little bit of a different format today and just express my gratitude. And like I said, just join together one last time in 2022 and be thankful, be grateful. And like I said, look forward to the year ahead and many years ahead. Like I said, going to be here on this journey with all of you for the foreseeable future. As long as I'm alive, I'll be doing content from here on out. And like I said, I want to come on, just express my gratitude and just be here with you all one last time here on New Year's Eve. And I wish every one of you a safe and happy New Year here this evening. And it's been an emotional day. I'll try to get, just give me 1 second here. So I'll try to get through this. It's been an emotional day. So a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, I found out today has cancer, and we're not sure how serious it is. But I'm not sure why I'm so emotional today. Maybe it's because of the new year. But it really is, you know, just the small things in life that we have to appreciate. And as we say goodbye to 2022, there's lots to be thankful for in 2023. And like I said, found out a good dear friend of mine has had cancer today. Can't really go into too much detail, but we're still finding out the severity of everything. You know, lots of my friends and family have had some health issues over the last couple of years. My father had cancer, my grandmother had cancer, and it just seems to be, you know, something that has coming up a lot lately. And I don't know why it hit me so hard today. But I wanted to come on, do a little bit of a different format, just come on, like I said, join one last time in 2022, and just express how, you know, grateful I am to be healthy, and just make sure that, you know, if you're talking to your friends and your family and your loved ones today, tell them you love them. And it's only money, right? We can't take things with us when we go. So these material things that, you know, we get hung up on and attached to, and you know, with regards to investing in the stock market or crypto, whatever it is, you know, it's easy to get down and to get caught up in all of this, you know, the emotional ride that we're in this roller coaster of an experience in the stock market or crypto, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we can't take it with us when we go. And like I said, just take the time over this weekend, try to get your mind straight, try to tell your friends and family as much as you can that you love them. Anytime you talk to anybody, just tell them you love them, because you never know, you know, when this is going to be the next time that you don't get that chance, right? So I wanted to just come on and just, I'm obviously vulnerable right now and I'm very, very emotional. But wanted to come on, support every one of you guys, say one more time, guys and gals, goodbye to 2022. And like I said, just look forward to many good times ahead. It's been a tough year, obviously, in MJ, in the stock market, in the financial world. And it's easy to get caught up in all of that and just kind of lose sight on what's really important in life. And I think those small things we can come back to and really appreciate. And like I said, I really appreciate each and every one of you. We'll come on. I'm not going to do a very long live stream today. I was going to take a break today. Over the next week, I'm going to be traveling to Florida as well with my family, and I'm going to be visiting some friends there the first week of January. So I won't be getting any videos out after today, more than likely for at least a week or two. But like I said, going to be taking the time to enjoy that time with friends and family. My parents, I didn't get to see them over the holidays. Maybe that's why I'm so emotional today, because I haven't really get to spend that much time with my family. And like I said, my grandmother had cancer, and my dad had cancer, but they got through it. And today found out that one of my good friends has cancer as well, and we're not too sure the severity of that or how serious it's going to be, if it's threatening, if it's something to really worry about. We just don't know at this point. But like I said, the next time you talk to any one of your friends and family, just tell them you love them. And yeah, I didn't really have a format for today's video, but I just kind of wanted to come on and spend the time with you guys, spend 20-30 minutes and just appreciate each and every one of you. And we can share. I see we have quite a few people joining us, and we have quite a few people typing in the chat, and we can just have a discussion and support one another, right? And like I said, obviously not going to talk about my whole issues and with my friends and family, and things that are going on health-wise with my friends and family. I want to come on and just remind everybody that it's only money. We can't take it with us when we go. All these material things, we can, obviously money can create a lot of pursuit of wealth. It's not just money. It's health, it's wealth, it's having friends and family and supporting one another. The whole idea of creating Power Group was to help everybody on this journey. And it's not just a journey in finance, it's a journey in life, right? It's about helping your fellow friends and family and being the best person that you can be, and trying to like I said, just maintain a healthy lifestyle. And the more as a result of having finances and investments and things like that, we can do more for our friends and family, right? And we'll do a little exercise here as well. Like I said, 2022 was a terrible year in terms of the stock market, in terms of investments. I think it was the worst year since 2008, and it could get a lot uglier from here. And we can do an exercise as well. I want to just ask everybody, obviously this is an MJ centric channel, so about 80%, 90% of my content is focused around MJ, because I am passionate about MJ. I truly believe that I was put on this world to pioneer this amazing industry. And not just, like I said, from a financial perspective, there's so many health benefits that we get from this medicine as well, right? And I think that we've only scratched the surface. And I get tons of people messaging me over the last few days. It's been pretty taxing, just seeing the amount of emotional people and upset people, frustrated people, with their investments, especially MJ, because we're down 90 to 99% on a lot of names from all-time highs. If you take a look at crypto, if you take a look at some of the tech names, right, Tesla, just getting absolutely crushed at the moment as well. If we take a look from the all-time high, we're now down, I think it was 80%. So we're down about 74%. So it's not just MJ, and it could go a lot lower than this as well, right? It's not just MJ, it's not just crypto. It's not the first time that I've experienced a 90+% drop in the stock market or in crypto, and it won't be the last, right? So we need to just deal with it, accept it for what it is. It's not going to be the first. It's not going to be the first and the last time that we experience these types of sell-offs. And like I said, I see no shortage of people just very, very upset, very frustrated, just down in the dumps. And I wanted to come on and just hopefully lift some spirits here today. And if anybody else is going through some trials and tribulations, if you're going through some hard times, let us know and reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. Obviously this is fairly hard for me to come on here and to do this today. And to shift gears and speak from such a serious topic to not so serious topic, right? Like I said, friends and family and our health are far more important than any of these investments or money, right? We can't take it with us when we go, but we will switch gears and go a little bit more into what the focus is on this channel. And the focus is helping people with their investments, right? And obviously, I'm big on personal development. I'm big on just being the best that you can be. But at the end of the day, the whole purpose of this channel was to create financial education, and that's what we're going to stick to, right? So, like I said, if we take a look at 2022, we can point fingers. We can say that this particular stock or this particular crypto or this particular company did really bad. And we can kick ourselves, but at the end of the day, it's just a learning opportunity. We can learn from it, and we'll do an exercise. So what is your worst investment of all time? I see no shortage of people saying my account is down this much, my account is down this much dollars or percentage. But it doesn't have to just be MJ. It could be crypto, it could be tech stocks, it could be anything at all. Just let us know in the chat how much you're down. If you don't feel comfortable saying a dollar value, you can say a percentage value. Is this your first time losing that much in your portfolio? Let me know. I'll start. So in my MJ portfolio, I am now down a little over about $50,000 in my MJ portfolio as a whole. I've got about 14 to 15 different MJ positions in my MJ portfolio. So collectively in my whole MJ portfolio, I'm down about just a little over $50,000, right? So everybody's situation is different. I've seen some people reach out to me. They said that their account was down $250,000. And I can't help but feel for those people that are down such large sums of money. And at the end of the day, there's not really anything we can do to fix it in the short term. We just need to learn from it, right? You can't, hindsight's always 20/20. We can't go back. We can't change things, but we can change things in the future, right? And we can do a better job at whether it be risk management, whether it be diversification, whether it be keeping cash on the sidelines, whether it be hedging and creating a position to benefit from any downside in the broader market, right? So we can spend this time doing this exercise. Like I said, if anybody wants to comment, feel you're more than welcome to, and we can go through it, and we can, like I said, we can all share our experiences, what we've learned, what we can do better, and just go from there, right? So like I said, starting, I'm down a little over 50,000 in my MJ portfolio. It's not the first time that I've been down that much. I was down probably $30,000 to $40,000 in my crypto portfolio in 2019, and then it went on to create a massive run, right? Not only that, I lost to Quadriga CX. I know there's a lot of people that lost a lot of money to FTX, Celsius, Voyager, all of those crypto companies. I lost 5 figures to Quadriga here in Canada when it went insolvent, and essentially it was a big Ponzi scheme and a big fraud that was going on. And I almost never wanted to invest ever again after that. And at the end of the day, I could point the finger and try to blame somebody as much as I wanted to, but at the end of the day, I had to learn from my mistakes. And at the end of the day, I was the one who put all of my eggs in one basket. I was the one who put all of those funds on the exchange and left it there, right? And I learned from that, and that made me a better person. It made me a better trader. It made me a better investor. It just made me better in the long term, right? And I'm glad that I made that mistake with a smaller sum of money as opposed to starting with a very large sum of money and getting burned that way. So, it's, like I said, everybody's situation is different. I was fortunate and we all have, good stories. We all have bad stories. We all have successes. We all have failures. And we don't just have to talk about our failures either. We can talk about our successes. I had very good success, obviously, with real estate. I've shared that many times. I was very fortunate and was able to sell one home for almost $500,000 after purchasing it for just a little under $200,000. And I had another home that I sold for over double than what I bought it for in a very short period of time, in less than 10 years, right? How many people do you know that buy a house and within less than 10 years, it's worth over double than what they bought it for, right? I had a friend in PEI who bought a house, and 3 years later, it over doubled in value. That's just completely unheard of, right? So we can take our gains, we can take our losses, we can take our failures, we can take our successes, we can learn from all of those. And I was very successful with crypto after we had that 99% pullback in a lot of the crypto market, right? We had Bitcoin in 2019, after the 2017 run, it went from about $20,000 all the way down to $3,000, so about 84% of downside. We had a lot of names like Cardano that went from the all-time high down about 98%, right? And now we're starting to see, like I said, Tesla down almost 80%. We're down 74% abouts. We've got Netflix, right? Netflix from the all-time high there in a matter of months. So in 6 months, it was down 76%. So it's not just MJ, it's not just crypto, everything, there's risk to everything. And at the end of the day, we need to utilize risk management. We need to not invest any more money than we're willing to lose. We need to diversify into multiple different asset classes, into multiple different companies within a specific asset class. And like I said, just realize that this won't be the last time that we see 80 to 90 to even 99% pullbacks in our portfolios, right? We can never time the top, we can never time the bottom, but as long as we're selling near the top and buying near the bottom, and then when you go through these experiences of a 90 or 80% pullback, like I said, you learn from it next time. Next time you might do things differently. You might dollar cost average a little bit more slowly. You might keep cash on the sidelines. You might hedge with an S&P 500 short position. All these things we can do to learn from in the future, right? So that's pretty much my spiel. Like I said, it's been an emotional day for me today. I won't get into any more of that. But like I said, it's the end of the year. I don't know why I'm so emotional today. Like I said, partly due to not being with my family during the holidays today. I'm on the West Coast, and a lot of my family are from the East Coast. So like I said, just spending time with friends and family this weekend. If you have the opportunity, I'm going to be spending lots of time this evening with my friends, celebrating New Year's Eve. And I wanted to come on one last time in 2022 and celebrate with you all. So like I said, we'll jump into the chat, and if anybody has anything they want to share, whether it be just life experiences, experiences in the stock market, crypto market over the last year, or into 2023, feel free to share that. And like I said, let us know what has been your worst investment, what has been your best investment, how much are you down in some of your portfolios? Have you been down that much before? Is it really taking a toll on you? Like I said, if you're experiencing kind of this fatigue, or if you're frustrated, if you're emotional, if you're just down in the dumps, talk to somebody, right? It's only money. We can learn from it and just become a better person from here on out, right? Learn from our mistakes, learn from our successes, and just keep it going, right? I'm kind of lost for words at the moment. I'm rambling. So we'll jump into the chat here. So Boris, hi Rod, Happy New Year. We're going to make it. It's the big MJ year. Believe in you and me. Absolutely. I think so. I think our year in MJ could be this year. We could see some federal legalization in the US. We could see, we know that New York's coming online as well, and Germany set to legalize at some point in the end of 2023 in terms of rec sales, but more than likely going to be the beginning of 2024. But I do think that over the next 1 to 2 years, Boris, we're going to be rewarded for our patience and just our conviction in this space. I've never been more confident in MJ. Like I said, I'm just grateful to be experiencing with you all, and it's going to be an opportunity of a lifetime, right? It's going to be generational wealth, and those who stay the course are going to have the last laugh. I had no shortage of people reaching out to me lately, just saying like, haha, I told you that this company in MJ was terrible. I'm not going to name any names. You should have sold long ago. And there's no shortage of people on a New Year's Eve willing to reach out, go out of their way and reach out to try to make people feel worse, which I just do not support whatsoever. So if you're one of those people that may find yourself doing that from time to time, maybe reconsider, because it's New Year's. Like I said, we're all in this together. We're not against each other. We're all supporting each other. We're all in this amazing industry together, and let's lift each other up. Let's pick each other's spirits up. Let's support each other. Let's lock arms. Let's all boats rise together, right? I want all MJ to do well. I want all of you to do well, whether you believe in MJ, whether you don't believe in MJ, whether you believe in crypto, whether you don't believe in crypto. I do think that we need more support. We need more optimism and just positivity in our lives, because There's no shortage of people willing to go out of their way and to reach out, whether it be on social media or direct message, and just try to make people feel bad about their investments. And that's the last thing that we need right now, with things being the way they are in the broader market, in the macroeconomic environment that we're in at the moment. And like I said, 80 to 90% of the people in my community are focused on MJ. So we'll probably be speaking about MJ for the duration of this live stream, right? So thank you for your comment, and look forward to the year ahead. Happy New Year, Rodman. Thank you. Appreciate it, Jamlosi. Day 2 above $1 for Hexo since it reset again. You bet. So we need, for those of you that aren't up to speed, Hexo did close below $1, so it lost its, it had about 5 days in a row. It needs to have 10 trading days consecutively above at $1 or above to regain NASDAQ compliance. And like Jamlosi said, it's now day 2. So we're going on day 3 into Tuesday next week. And we'll look to get that 10-day consecutive run to get regain compliance with the NASDAQ. Boris, believe in you. Believe you me. Come to the store. I love Russell Peters. Sorry to hear about your good friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's I couldn't imagine finding that news out in general, but especially on New Year's Eve, it really hit home with me today, and. Instantly reached out to my girlfriend and my family, and it's easy to get caught up in all the small problems that we have, right? And not just in investing or anything like that in the financial world, but just any kind of small arguments that you might have with your loved ones, your friends and family, or your partner. Just really goes to show you how minuscule our problems are, and just be grateful, be thankful that you're healthy, and it can always be worse, right? And there's always somebody out there who's likely experiencing something worse than you are. And like I said, it just really put it into perspective how small some of my problems have been over the last year comparative to some others, right? Sorry to hear that, Rod. I hope he or she recovers soon. Thank you very much. Not sure if they'll be on the stream today, but I'm sure that I'll pass that on, and I'm sure that they'll be very supportive and thankful of that, no doubt in my mind. So. Tell them to go to Houston, Texas. MD Anderson has the best cancer treatment in the world. Thank you. Okay, I'll definitely pass that on. People who invest money they need don't know how to invest. Yeah, well, that's definitely one of the aspects, right? The golden rule: don't invest any more money than you're willing to lose. And that's definitely one thing that I see just coming through the emotion on people's posts and their messages is, that they broke the golden rule, right? Because they can't even look, they can't even log into their account to look at it because they're just disgusted with how much they're down. And like I said, I know some people who said they're down $250,000 on a particular MJ stock. I won't name one particular stock, but there's many, right? It's not just one in Canada, it's not just one in the US, it's not just a producer, it's not just a retailer. I know tons of people who multiple different MJ stocks or cryptos are down 80 to 90%, and they're down 5 figures, 6 figures. Some are down 7 figures. A good friend of mine, his dad is down over $1 million on one of his MJ investments, and I couldn't imagine being down that much. Like I said, I mean, it all depends on your net worth, how much money you have. The golden rule is going to be way different for many different people. So the amount that you're willing to lose is going to be drastically different than the next person or the next person after that. So if you got a net worth of $1 billion, well, if you invest $1 million, you're probably okay with losing $1 million. But if you have a net worth of $1 million or just over $1 million and you lose $1 million, well, that's your whole life's work essentially, right? And depending on how old you are, he or she, if you're in your later years and you're looking toward retirement, that's a big blow, right? So it's easy to get frustrated and to get just emotional about that, right? And yeah, it really is about not breaking that golden rule. And especially with MJ and crypto, the two most volatile and riskiest asset classes on the planet, like I just showed you, Netflix and Tesla are down 80% almost from their all-time highs in a very, very short period of time. So it's not just MJ. Imagine if you put $100,000 into, or if you had $100,000 into Netflix near the top, it would now be worth close to $20,000, right? Or Tesla. If you had $100,000 into Tesla and you didn't sell near the all-time high, it's now worth about $25,000, right? And then, like I said, some MJ names, we'll just kind of pick through a few here. You got Tilray. You got Tilray down from its all-time highs. It's down 99% from its all-time highs, right? 99, little over 99%. You've got no shortage of them, right? T-God down 85%. You got CGC from its all-time highs. It's down 96%. Hexo, 99% as well, right? You've got ACB from its all-time highs, down 99%. Don't forget Amazon back in the early days in the dot-com boom and bust. Amazon dropped 95% after 2000, right? It went on to create many, many billionaires after that massive drop. But 95% in a stock that isn't federally illegal, selling a federally illegal substance in the US, classified under a Schedule 1 drug. So if a name like Amazon, in a burgeoning and emerging market like the tech industry was, and the dot-com era, if it can drop 95% selling legitimate products that aren't on a Schedule 1 drug and federally illegal in the US and many countries still offering the death penalty for simple possession, if it can drop 95% in a few short years, well then what makes us think that MJ is immune to a 99% drop or a 95% drop? Or what makes us think that crypto is immune to a 95 or a 99% drop, right? Everything is not immune to a 90 to 99% drop, right? It's going to happen. This won't be the last time, not just in MJ. There'll be many asset classes that come along that'll do the same, right? Whether it be in AI or, electric vehicles, things like that. These new emerging industries, we're going to see that, right? And that's just because it's such a new industry and there's not a whole lot of market cap at the moment, right? But even our large market cap names like Amazon, from its all-time high, it is now down almost 60%. And then Tesla, with a $500 billion market cap, is down almost 80% in a very short period of time, right? In about a year. So from the all-time high there to today, you're looking at 13 months, so a little over a year. And it's still saying that we could see a lot more downside, right? So even a name that's worth $500 billion in market cap can easily fall 80%. And that's just because we get exuberant to the upside and then we get exuberant to the downside, right? And this won't be the last time that we see 80 to 90 to 99% pullbacks in any asset class, right? We're going to continue to see that as markets are irrational to the upside and the downside. But I agree. If you're investing more than you're willing to lose, that's probably the first mistake that you made, right? And like I said, I'm down over $50,000 in my MJ portfolio, and I don't really get too hung up on that. Because like I said, that I was okay with losing that amount of money, right? If I was down $200,000, just to be completely transparent with everybody, I probably wouldn't have, slept that well over the last year, right? Or if I didn't save money, dry powder on the side, like I've been saying for many, many months now, I have a 6-figure cash position that I've been saving and dollar cost averaging into. I've also got real estate investments. I've got mutual funds. I've got, hedge position on the S&P 500. So it's a short position. So when the S&P 500 goes down, that particular position makes money. And then you're able to take those gains and then buy more beaten down, whatever it is. If it's MJ, it's crypto, tech stocks, what have you, right? And I've seen a ton of people, just even on my Tesla video here, I did that 2 weeks ago when the price was at $160, and people were commenting like, the hell with your technical analysis, the hell with the charts. There's no way Tesla's going below 140. There's no way it's going below 100. And like I said, that was back 2 weeks ago, and that was when the price was at around 160 here. So about 2 weeks ago on the first week of December, that's when the price was at around 160, 180. And here we are, we dropped in a couple of weeks, we dropped all the way down to 108. And people were telling me that it would never happen, right? And it could go a lot lower from here, right? But we don't know where the bottom's going to be. But like I said, if something's down 70, 80%, that's generally a good time to start dollar cost averaging in, to start buying when there's blood in the streets, right? And like I said, you're probably not going to time the exact bottom. But as long as you know that going in, as long as when you go to buy a particular asset or an investment, as long as you're okay with it going down, because we don't have crystal balls. We're not going to time the exact bottom. And as long as you have a plan, right? And that's really all it's about, right? Is having a plan before you enter and having a plan before you exit, right? Having that blueprint. And once you figure that out, you can apply it to any different asset class, right? Thank you, Rod, for sharing your knowledge throughout the year. Thank you very much, Humberto. I appreciate it. Thanks for your comment. Thanks for joining the stream. It goes both ways for sure, and it definitely doesn't go unnoticed. And like I said, I really appreciate the level of professionalism and maturity in the community, in the comments. I haven't seen, comparative to some other channels, I know some channels that disable comments altogether because they just can't deal with the trolls or they can't deal with the spam bots. Who knows? Maybe I'll have lots of bots in the future. But I've always said that my channel will grow as fast as it'll grow based on me telling the truth and nothing but the truth. And I tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And to be quite frank, like, most people don't like that, right? And I think that the truth will set us all free. And like I said, I'm not here to take everyone for a ride. I'm not here to better myself and myself only. I'm here to better myself, yes, but I'm here to help each and every one of you and share my knowledge, learn from you guys as well, right? I've learned a ton through you guys, from you guys throughout the year as well. Even in the Power Group private community, I've learned a ton. We've got people in there with different strengths and weaknesses. We've got tons of people in there who know more about the fundamental aspects or financial statements, things like that. That's not my strong suit. I'm definitely more of a technical and psychological, just a visionary. That's kind of my strong suit. But I'm learning as well, and we can all continue. It's a continuous learning process. And if we stop learning and stop growing, you're dying, right? If you stop growing, if you stop learning, you're basically dying, right? And that might sound somber, that might sound dark, but it's true. As long as we're continuously putting one foot forward and in front of the other, there's nothing bad that can come from that, in my opinion. And even if we do experience some turmoil or something bad in our lives or in our friends or families' lives, just having that positivity and that one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, it makes it all easier to cope with, and it makes you that much more grateful, right? And you have that sense of accomplishment. And whether, like I said, it could be maybe your New Year's resolution this year is to be more healthy. Maybe it's to consume less alcohol. Maybe it's to consume more cannabis beverages, right? That's definitely one of my New Year resolutions, right? Is to be more healthy. And maybe you want to go to the gym more. Maybe you want to spend less time watching Netflix, and you want to spend more time reading books or just educating yourself in a particular any industry or any topic, right? Just continuous learning process obviously is critical. I'm down approximately $10,000 USD. So that's, I would say most people are probably down. I would say that's probably the average, Boris. For the average retail investor, I would say that five figures around the $10,000 mark is probably the average. But if we just take a look at, we'll say like a name like ACB. This isn't a name that I hold in my portfolio, to be completely transparent. But let's say you're down $10,000. If you put $100, let's say you don't have any money to invest today, and you just save $20 each paycheck for the next several weeks, right? And then over the next few months, you invest $100 into ACB. And let's say MJ doesn't go away and the MJ industry hits new all-time highs, and ACB as an example, if it goes back to all-time highs, that's 156x. So $100 investment times 156, that's $15,600 profit, or that's how much your investment would be worth if you invested $100 into Aurora and it goes back to all-time highs. So your $10,000 that you're down today, my point is you don't need to invest 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures into a risky asset class like MJ or crypto to make life-changing wealth. And I'm not telling you guys to buy, sell, or hold. I'm not telling you guys to put in any more money than you're willing to lose. If you're already at that threshold, then maybe you're better off to just sit and buy and wait. But personally, like I said, I'm down about $50,000, a little over $50,000 in my MJ portfolio. I have a mix of US MJ, I have a mix of Canadian producers, I have a mix of retailers and ETFs and, picks and shovels. But I've also got a ton of crypto. I've got more money dollar-wise in crypto than I do in MJ at the moment. And they're getting pretty close to one another. But that's how I diversify into different asset classes. I'm not just into one stock. I'm not just into one MJ play. I'm not just into one crypto play. I've got real estate. I've got mutual funds, all of those things that we can use to diversify and have that different basket of assets, right? So that we're not subject to all of that emotion that we have on the downside. So for example, for me, like I said, I've got tons of people reaching out saying Hexo's been the worst investment to date, but how can you say that when the average MJ stock is down the same, right? And you can pick a time frame. You can say, oh, well, Hexo's down 60% in the last few months, whereas TGC's only down 40 or 30%, or this MJ stock's down 30% in the last few months, and this one's down 60 or 80 or over the last 6 months or the last year. But at the end of the day, I think we need to look at it from a macro perspective. It's like the same thing in crypto, right? I don't really think there's any merit or any benefit in looking on a month-to-month basis. I would look at, maybe the yearly chart or the multi-year chart or the macro trend, looking at what the bull market has been. So looking at bull markets versus bear markets, right? How much were we up in a bull market? When we were in a bull market on crypto, was everything in a bull market? Pretty much, right? When we were in a bear market in crypto, was everything in a bear market? Pretty much. And when we were in those bull markets, what was the average return? Well, ADA went up 175x. So if you put $1,000 into Cardano in the lows of March 2020, a couple years later, that'd be worth almost $250,000, just a $1,000 investment, right? So you don't need to invest 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures in order to see life-changing wealth. If you put in $4,000 into Cardano in March 2020, that'd be worth about $1 million a couple years later, just $4,000, right? And then look what happened. In the bear market, we were down 99, 98, 99%. And that wasn't just Cardano. That was everything, right? We can look at Bitcoin. It was down 84%. If we look at Ethereum from its all-time high in 2017 to the low, it was down 94%, right? So those names that had higher market caps were down a little bit less, like Bitcoin, but XRP went from like $3. It was down almost 97%, right? And then in the new bull market, things start to go up drastically, right? So if you're down, my point is, if you're down on, for example, Hexo, like I said, I'm down $50,000 in my MJ portfolio, and as a whole, right, through 14 different investments. Hexo is my biggest investment in my MJ portfolio. I've been dollar cost averaging. I've been adding some. I haven't been loading, the boat. I've been adding a few $1,000s here and there, but let's say, I don't know the exact figure I'm down on Hexo, but let's say I'm down $20,000 or $30,000 on Hexo because it's my biggest investment in MJ. Let's say I'm down $20,000 or $30,000. If you put $1,000 into Hexo today, and I'm not telling you to do it, I'm just telling you what I'm doing. If I put $1,000 into Hexo today and it goes back to all-time highs, that's 400x from here, almost 500x, right? So how many $1,000 investments do you need to have life-changing wealth from here to offset those gains or those losses that you've had over the last few years, right? $1,000, if Hexo goes back to all-time highs, that's 453x. $1,000 into almost $500,000, right? So, but again, you don't need to put $1,000 in. You could put $100 in. That'd be $45,000. $100 into $45,000. So is that worth adding more to your bag at that point? Look at Tilray. If Tilray goes to all-time highs from its current lows, which I don't think Tilray's going to go to anywhere, that's 110x, right? 110,000%. So $1,000 into Tilray, if it goes back to all-time highs, that's $1,000 into $110,000. If it just goes back to the highs of February 2021, you're looking at 24x, right? So $1,000 into $24,000, right? And then, I've been focusing on Canadian MJ, but again, like the same, look at MSOS, it's completely destroyed. Tracking all the US major companies, and these are the poster childs of the MJ industry, right? People say, oh, there's, Trulieve, it got as low as 872. We were back to March 2020 levels, right? C19, we were at $8.10 all-time low. We went from $8.10 to $67. And then we dropped from $67 all the way back to $8.72. right? So it doesn't matter about how profitable the company is, what the fundamentals are. If it did, Trulieve would not be down back to levels of all-time lows. We would not be down 86%. But just like Bitcoin was only down 83% from its all-time high, and then a lot of the other names in crypto were down 99%, it's the exact same thing. We've got the names like Tilray down 99%, ACB 99%, Hexo 99%, CGC like 96% from all-time highs. But then you get some names like Trulieve that are down 86%. It's basically the same as Bitcoin compared to the altcoin market, right? We've got some names that are down a lot, but a little less than the worst names out there, right? But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be opportunity in them going forward, right? And we can single it out. Like I said, you can pick a time frame, but look at Cresco from its all-time high down to now, we're down 90%, right? If you look at Cureleaf from its all-time high to the low, it's down 80%, right? So there's some that are holding up better than others and some that are a lot worse than others. But in a bear market, right now, the average is you're down 80 to 90% from all-time highs. So let's just say you don't have any US MJ in your portfolio. Or let's just say you don't have any Canadian MJ in your portfolio. If you had $100,000 into Tilray in February 2021 and you didn't sell it, that $100,000 that you had at that time is now worth $4,000 because it's down 96%, right? So that's bad. That's really bad. Trulieve, if you didn't sell at the high here at $67, it's down 87%. So your $100,000 is only worth $13,000, right? So no matter how you look at it, it's still really bad, right? But as long as you're selling near the top and buying near the bottom, and as long as you have a plan and you're not making up the plan as you go along, then you're going to be a lot less emotional when things happen. And if you're not selling when we're at monthly overbought and the RSI is at extreme overbought levels, well, you need to accept that, if we're monthly overbought and the RSI is pushing like almost 90, right, which is anything over 70 is considered, you really don't want to be buying there, or you want to consider selling, right? That's generally what RSI means. But if you made that decision not to sell and that you're a long-term holder and you're waiting for U.S. federal legalization like myself, then you need to have a plan. You need to have cash on the side. You're going to dollar cost average. You're going to short with an S&P 500 to hedge against those that downfall, right, and that downside. Or do you want to sell some and then rebuy it later? That's a possibility as well. That's what I did. That's the approach I took with a lot of my MJ in February 2021. Granted, I bought a lot more too soon, right? When Tilray was up to $67, I was selling into that run up. And then when Hexo was going on a big run, I didn't really buy too much US MJ. I was more focused on Canadian MJ until we have the US names uplist. That's when I'm going to start to focus a little bit more on US MJ. But I do have MJ in the US in my portfolio. It's just a lot less. It probably only accounts for 10% of my portfolio, because once we start to see federal legalization, we're going to have these huge capital expenditures. They're going to have to expand. They're going to either have to dilute. They're going to have to buy new facilities, which are going to create more capital expenditures. They're going to have to dip into their cash reserves. They're going to have to acquire companies. They're going to have to dilute. All these things that the Canadian companies are going through and that the U.S. companies haven't really had to deal with yet, because they're not expanding on a global level like Tilray is. Tilray's focusing on Germany. They're focusing on Canada. They're focusing on the U.S., right? They've got businesses on all of those territories, and not just in certain areas of those regions. It's pretty much national in all of those locations, right? So you got to think that a lot of the issues that we're seeing in Canadian MJ more than likely will see some sort of spillover from those obstacles in the U.S. market, right? In the U.S. names. So, like I said, in February 2021, I was selling into this run-up, not in my long-term MJ portfolio. I haven't sold anything in my long-term MJ portfolio because I'm holding till U.S. legalization. And in that portfolio, I'm down over 90% in some of my MJ names. But I don't care, because I made the decision that I wasn't going to sell, and I'm just going to hold till U.S. legalization. And then in my short-term portfolio, I was selling into that run-up, and then I started to buy back on the downfall. Granted, I bought a lot more too soon, right? I should have waited, right? But hindsight's always 20/20. But as long as you're selling near the top and buying near the bottom, that's the name of the game, right? So you can kick yourself as much as you want. You can, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. You can play that game, but I stopped playing that game long ago. And like I said, it always seems like there's never going to be another opportunity until until there is, right? Until we start to see things shift around. And then that's when we generally see, life-changing wealth. So I'm down about 50%, wanted to give up multiple times, but then I encouraged myself not to do so. Exactly. And, it's like I said, if this is your first time down almost 50% or 80%, 90%, well, it's not going to, I could list off 100 different examples of things in the past that have done that, right? And it's not going to be the last time. We're going to have that happen many, many times in the future as well. And yeah, it's learning from those mistakes, right? And believing in yourself, believing in the asset, believing in, not just believing in it, but doing proper due diligence, looking at what the big money's doing, looking at diversification, right? If you got all your eggs in one basket, whether it be a particular industry or sector or asset class, then that's risky. And then if you have all your eggs in one basket in one particular company or crypto in one asset class, well, that's even more risky, right? I managed to make a small profit on Juicy Holdings. Yeah, so like I said, there's tons of opportunities in a bear market. Look at CGC over the last couple of weeks, over the last couple of months. It went from 213 all the way up to, it was over 112%, right? So that's 100%, over 100% that you could have made on CGC in a bear market, right? And here we are back down. We dropped to a lower low. So 213, we dropped to 209. We now have a new 52-week low after seeing a 100% move, right? Almost 120%. But like I said, if this is near the bottom, if you put $1,000 into CGC and it goes to all-time highs, $1,000 could result in $25,000 just if we go back to all-time highs. But what happens if CGC goes to $100 a share or $200 a share, right? I mean, the market cap's still extremely low. If we look at CGC Finance, what's the market cap of CGC at the moment? We're looking at 1.12 billion, right? So there's names like Budweiser and, in the alcohol industry that are worth hundreds of billions of dollars, right? So that's a 100x opportunity that this could potentially see. And alcohol is poison, right? There's no medical benefit really, maybe other than like cultures and different cultures using it as like an anesthesia or, helping people sleep or something like that. But MJ can be used for that. MJ's actual medicine. MJ actually has medical benefits and, things like that. So if this can cure epilepsy and different disorders and diseases and actually provide, cancer treatment and things like that, think of what the opportunity could be. Like this could be $1 trillion opportunity, right? Which is 1,000x opportunity or even 100x opportunity, right? So imagine if Canopy Growth, imagine if its market cap went to 100 billion, right? What would that would put the share price easily into the hundreds, right? And then at that point, you're looking at about $1,000 at these levels into, 100x opportunity, 1,000, could even get a 1,000x, right? All we see is nonstop reverse split, Matt says. So yeah, that's a great point. So I was over this. So think about it for a second. Why do you guys think we see so many reverse splits in MJ? I'll just give you a second to think about it. Just type it in the chat. Why do you think it is that we see so many reverse splits in Canadian MJ? Why aren't we seeing reverse splits in US MJ? Why aren't we seeing reverse splits in tech stocks? Why aren't we seeing reverse splits in crypto, right? Let's see if someone can come up with the answer I'm thinking of. We'll circle back to that in a second. I'm just worried about Hexo being able to hold that $1 mark for 10 consecutive days. If it does, great. If not, we will be forced to sell at losses. I wouldn't say you'd be forced to sell because it's just going to delist from the NASDAQ and it would still trade on the TSX, right? So I don't think you'd be forced to sell because you'd have the TSX. And to be quite honest, if it wasn't listed on the NASDAQ, that could create some US opportunity as well for entry into the US market, similar to what Canopy Growth is doing through its special purpose vehicle and creating another entity in the US. But yeah, again, that's why having that diversification is important as well, right? Not just owning Hexo, but owning multiple different MJ stocks, not investing any more than you're willing to lose. To be honest, at this point, I'm not selling Hexo ever. It'll either go to zero, I'll put a little bit more money, I'll dollar cost average. I'm not going to put any more than I'm willing to lose in, right? I've been putting in a few $1,000s here and there as we drop. I defended $1 the other day, yesterday, and helped to close over $1 USD for the second day in a row. And we still got until the 23rd, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 trading days left before the 23rd. So all we need is 8. So even if we dip below $1 on 3rd or the 4th, we can reset it again and get another 10 days, right? And now we're getting tax loss harvesting out of the way. We could see new Congress potentially be favorable to some safe banking. We'll see what the new Congress brings. We'll see what descheduling or rescheduling efforts could bring through HHS and the DOJ and Biden, right? We'll see what comes of that. We know that the stock market, the broader market, the tech stocks are just completely obliterated, right? We get Tesla down almost 80% from all-time highs. It's likely due for a massive rally in the stock market over the next few months, in my opinion, I think. And then also with Congress yet to be banned from owning stocks, that could be an incentivization for them and the stock market to see a massive rally and then look for Congress getting banned from owning stocks as a potential catalyst to mark the top. And then I do think that into the later half of 2023, 2024 is when the broader market, the S&P 500 tech stocks could enter free fall mode. We could be down a lot more than we are at the moment, right? If we just take a look at SPY on the monthly time frame, and the .com fractal that I've overlaid, I took this fractal here from the .com days, overlaid it with the everything bubble, and it's very, very similar, right? And by this logic, if we go to these lows and this percentage drawback, the S&P 500 could pull down another 40%. But that doesn't mean that we can't deviate from this and see another massive rally based on how manipulated the market is, how much money the Fed's printing and injecting into the market, which we didn't have that in the .com days, right? So not everything is the exact same. But we'll continue to monitor that for clues, right? But like I said, Hexo, it's definitely very, very high risk, high reward. Not going to sugarcoat that. But personally, I'm not worried at all. I think that they've made tons of progress lately. I think they're going to be positive adjusted EBITDA over, maybe the next quarter or two. And then we could see cash flow positive over the next 3 to 4 quarters, in my opinion, right? And at which point, there would be no more reason to reverse split or to dilute or, to dip into some of the other things that they've done in the past, right? And then once we get, the sector reverse, then we won't have the reverse splits. Once we start to see the sector enter a new bull market, reverse splits are going to become a thing in the past. But speaking of reverse splits, we'll see if anybody has the answer that I was going to say. Yeah, so if you're in the U.S. and it gets delisted, that's a good point. So yeah, if you're in the U.S., you'd have to sell the shares and then rebuy on the TSX because the Hexo doesn't have any OTC. There's the Neo exchange as well, right? So the Neo exchange, the TSX, or the NASDAQ. So yeah, if you're in the US, a little bit of a different story. So yeah, you'd have to find that alternative. And then in the US, I don't think you can buy on the TSX. So but yeah, that's part of it too, right? Like that is a real concern. You'd be forced to sell at that point, as far as I'm aware. I'm in Canada, so I haven't experienced that before. But I don't think U.S., especially if you're on Robinhood, you wouldn't be able to buy it on the TSX, right? So that's definitely a concern. So if you're in the U.S. and you're holding Hexo on the NASDAQ, then you have to develop that's why no two situations are the same, right? That's why I can't tell you what to do I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not legally able to give you financial or legal advice. I can't tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what I would do. And my situation is going to be drastically different based on my risk profile, based on my location, right? I was talking to somebody in the Pal Group private community. They said that, I can't remember, was it an exchange in Europe? They were not just one particular MJ company, they were delisting a bunch of MJ companies, and they were being forced to sell. And that to me just spells manipulation to its finest, right? It should be borderline illegal. But that just goes to show you that people in Europe, people in the US, people in Canada, no two situations are the same, right? We're all at different risk tolerances. We're all at different ages. We're all at different points in our lives. We're all at different geographic locations. We're all in different exchanges. So that is all part of the plan of making, before you enter an investment, having that plan, right? And diversifying, not just having one stock or one MJ play, or putting in more money into one stock than we're willing to lose, right? So that's a good point as well. So, and I think a lot of people are probably in that same boat. So we can all learn from that and just, develop that plan before we enter, and having that diversification. And and that way it's going to help you sleep at night. But personally, at the end of the day, if Hexo were to get delisted, what I would do is I would just sell my NASDAQ shares into USD, and then I would convert the USD into Canadian, and then I'd buy it on the TSX, right? So going back to the reverse split, we'll see if anybody got it. But the reason I believe, which I think is fairly accurate, why we're seeing reverse splits in the Canadian market is because, first and foremost, the US names aren't on US major exchanges. So these NASDAQ and NYSE minimum price bid rule is only on US major exchanges. So the US names aren't seeing this problem because they don't have that requirement. They're not on the NASDAQ yet. They're not on the NYSE yet. But this, again, a lot of the problems that the Canadian companies are facing, the American companies have yet to face them, but that doesn't mean that they're immune or they won't in the future, right? Once they uplist to the NYSE and the NASDAQ and we enter another bear market, which we know is inevitable, there's no way we're just going to completely go in a bull market forever in US MJ or an MJ after this bear market's over, right? There's going to be another bull market, there's going to be another bear market, and then there'll be another bull and another bear and another bull and another bear, right? There's only one thing that can happen, bull markets or bear markets, right? Or two things that can happen. So if we're not in one, we're in the other. And there's going to be many, many of them going forward. And the US names are probably going to have a similar problem, right? Look at Planet 13, it's under $1. Look at KHRN, it's at 5.5 cents. MedMen at 2 cents. All right. You've got, was it Cresco? Cresco at $2.45. Wouldn't take much to get that back under $1. CXXI, 26 cents. BAM, 8.5 cents, right? So, and in order for them to uplist, they might even do a reverse split to uplist once uplist becomes a thing, right? Because let's say we get marijuana rescheduled and it's no longer on Schedule 1, it's on Schedule 3, and we can now uplist, or safe banking happens, whatever, what have you. A name like BAM or a name like CXXI or a name like KHRN or MedMen, they're not going to be able to uplist, or Planet 13, because their prices aren't at $1. But likely, if we got that news of uplisting, we'd see a huge increase in price, and then a lot of their names would benefit from that and get above $1, right? But that could be an incentivization for them to do a reverse split in order to get uplisted. Or they could be at $1 at the time of that happening, and then they uplist, right? And you have to keep in mind too, this is CL on the Canadian stock exchange. So that 245 is actually a lot less, right? Because that's the Canadian equivalent. So if we take a look at Cresco Labs on the OTC, it's at $1.80. So this could easily fall below $1, right? It was at $1.66. Look at CGC, it went from like, what was the high there recently? It went from $2.13. That's on the daily time frame. It went from $2.13 all the way up to $4.77, down to another lower low at $2.09, right? So it dropped 56% in a month, right? Cresco could easily drop 50, 60% in a month, and it if it gets uplisted, then it would be in the similar predicament, right? So the reason why we're not seeing reverse splits in the US is because they're not on US major exchanges. And another reason is because it's still federally illegal, right? Again, Amazon dropped 95% after the 2000.com era when it was selling legitimate products that weren't federally illegal in Schedule 1 drugs, right? Imagine if Amazon was trying to sell Schedule 1 federally illegal drugs in 2000 and the price plummeted. It would have been down over 99%, right? It basically would have completely evaporated, just like MJ. But you got to keep in mind, MJ in Canada, not only is CGC planning for all of like Canada, CGC, Tilray, Hexo, all of the mega caps, they've got distribution in all of Canada. They have facilities in the US, they have facilities abroad, they have they have strategies and they have business models, they have plans in all of those markets. Take a look at Tilray. It's got Germany, the US, and all of Canada, right? Whereas a lot of our US names aren't doing that, and it's causing more problems for them in the short term, but in the long term, it could benefit them greatly, right? Because they have a huge head start and first mover advantage, and they've got uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ into the capital markets, right? So that's another reason, right? Is because these reverse splits are happening because of the hindering of lack of reform, right? Once we get the U.S. embracing it and the rest of the world embracing it, the reverse splits are going to become a thing of the past, right? Why do you think mushrooms like magic mushrooms, the psilocybin, and all those names are doing reverse splits and things like that as well? Is because it's a similar thing. It's because there's so much regulatory uncertainty and just headwinds and lack of reform that's allowing the industry to flourish and to adopt. It was the same thing in crypto and the same thing in tech back in the early days of the internet. We didn't have any clear regulations and rules in Congress in the U.S. That could let the industry not only thrive but innovate and to continue to flourish and to just go on to shape the industry, right? And we couldn't have the industry flourish and innovate unless we had clear rules of the road. So right now, MJ, I would say, is very similar, and crypto, you could say maybe crypto's a little further along, but crypto isn't federally illegal, right? It's not a Schedule 1 drug, but there's still so much lack of regulatory uncertainty, right? There's so many, we still don't know the rules of the road for crypto yet. And a lot of companies are going offshore. They're operating outside of the U.S. because of the fact that, they don't want to get slammed with a lawsuit from the SEC and selling unregistered securities because they just don't know, right? While most of the world has said that these cryptos aren't securities, the U.S. hasn't given that clarity, right? And then you switch gears over to MJ, and MJ is federally illegal, and it's on the same substance list as heroin. Well, that really complicates things, right? So that's why we're seeing so many reverse splits, is because we're seeing the industry time and time again unable to continue to maintain its gains and to innovate and to flourish because of that lack of regulation, right? And the U.S. names just haven't had that problem yet because they're OTC or they're on the Canadian stock exchanges, right? So once they'll probably have the same issue until the U.S. gives clear rules of the road and deschedules and makes it maybe on the same classification as alcohol and tobacco, right? So in my opinion, reverse splits will likely continue to happen until we see U.S. reform, right? That's just the cold, hard truth about it. Rod, thank you for your videos and time in 2022. Happy New Year's. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, John. Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for your contributions and support. Definitely, like I said, goes both ways. So Jesse says, I'm down $4,000. So yeah, like I said, probably the average is around $5,000 to $10,000 down for the most average retail investor. Like I said, I'm a little bit in a different boat, but if I look at my net worth, me down a little over $50,000, that's less than 10% of my net worth, right? So I'm okay with being down $50,000 because that's a very minor amount of my overall net worth, right? But if your net worth is $10,000 and you're down $4,000, well, that's, you're down like 60% of your net worth, right? So everybody's situation is different. But like I said, if you start to dollar cost average, even with $100, if you're down $4,000 on some of these names and you start to dollar cost average, you could turn $100 investment into, $5,000, $10,000 if we go back to all-time highs on some of these names. So you could easily recoup those losses, even with just $100 investment, based on how crazy these prices are at the moment, how crazy low they are, right? So, whether it be 4,000, 10,000, I think where most people get into problems is where they invest. Like I said, some people are down 5 figures, 6 figures, some even down 7 figures. If you're down $100,000 and your net worth is $120,000, well, you're in a big predicament, right? You're probably very emotional. You probably invested way more than you were willing to lose. But at the end of the day, like if my net worth was $200,000 and I was down $100,000, I would never be able to live with myself. That I would just I'd be so disappointed. I would be frustrated. I would be emotional. I would never want to invest in anything ever again. But like I said, if you're down $50,000 and that's only less than 10% or 5% of your net worth, well, you can stand to see your net worth go down 5% or 10% because you have that extra. You're diversified. You have real estate investments, what have you, right? So it all depends about what your net worth is, right? And doing those calculations and not investing any more than you're willing to lose. But I mean, $4,000, I'm sure lots of people, Jesse, in this chat would love to be down just $4,000, right? Like I said, there's some people down $40,000, there's some down $400,000, right? So you can look at it and say, okay, well, I'm glad I started with a little amount of money before I started with a large amount of money. I'm glad I learned some lessons with a small sum versus a large sum, right? It's like when I went back to my crypto experience, when I got lost 5 figures, over $10,000. I lost close to $15,000 from an exchange that went insolvent. Nothing I did, right? But I put all my eggs in one basket. I could say, I played the blame game. I said, oh, this stupid exchange, Quadriga, can't believe it went under. It was a Ponzi scheme. The guy was a fraud. He did nefarious things with the money, and it's all his fault. But at the end of the day, I should have did more due diligence. I shouldn't have put 100% of my crypto on that exchange. I should have had a hardware wallet. I should have, there's things I could have done. Obviously, it wasn't all my fault, but I played a role as well, right? And not having all your money on one exchange or what have you, or FTX with Sam Bankman-Fried going down, like that's another reminder that as much as we think that, oh, I had nothing to do with it, but there's things that we can do to protect against that. And like I said, $4,000, I definitely feel for you. I'm not sure if that's life-changing money for you, but like I said, a lot of people in here, I'm sure would love to be just down about 4,000, right? AJ, thanks, Rod. You're the truth. Happy New Year's Eve. Moon for us. Yeah, you bet. Like I said, I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular retail investor like everybody else, and I've just put in the work. There's no shortcuts, especially in the financial world, and I'm happy to come on here and to share my knowledge. And like I said, we learn from one another, right? There's people who I've learned tons of people that I've learned a lot from as well. So like I said, it goes both ways. And thanks for joining the stream, and thanks for supporting me in 2022, and looking forward to supporting you all in 2023 as well. I'm going to add more Tilray in January. Boris says, yep. So Tilray's on the list of names I want to add as well. And I'm going to be looking to add more USMJ as well. That's one of my my goals for 2023. So if it gets delisted, we'll have our shares. I mean, I use Robinhood. Would it still be there? I honestly don't know how it works. Yeah, I think I already read that one. So yeah, if you're on Robinhood, Robinhood I don't think has anything other than the NASDAQ. So yeah, you'd be essentially, as far as I'm aware, you'd have a cutoff date, the date that it would be delisted, and you would either have to sell before that date, or if that date came, it would automatically sell it for you, similar to what they're doing in Europe as well. Like I said, there was a person in the Power Group private community that got a message from their exchange in Europe who said that not just Hexo, but there was a few different MJ companies that they said that were going to be delisted. So he either had to sell before that date, or it would force sell them. And Uphold, actually, an exchange that's one of our sponsors on the channel, they had something similar here in Canada. They were force selling precious metals. So if you held any kind of precious metal on Uphold, if you didn't sell it before a specific date, it automatically sold it for you. So that's what you can expect there. But yeah, if Robinhood doesn't give you the ability to invest in anything else other than like the NASDAQ listed name, then you'd have to find another alternative. Goldie says, my Hexo average is $4 Canadian pre-split. My new average is $56, but Hexo is not 14 times what it was at 30 cents times 14 equals 420. Scared to average down. Hexo just keeps going down. Every time I average down, Hexo goes down further. So I will wager a guess that Hexo is probably your biggest MJ investment, if not your only MJ investment, Goldie. Would I be correct in saying that? So again, when I see people comment saying this stock is down, like me being an MJ focused community, there's no shortage of people hating on Aurora. There's no shortage of people hating on CGC. I had a guy the other day say that they were down $250,000 on Tilray, right? $250,000 they were down in a loss on Tilray, right? So it's easy to look at one particular name, and the first question I asked him was, is Tilray your biggest investment? And he said, I only own Tilray. So it's evident and obvious to me why he's only pointing out Tilray, right? And hating on Tilray. So again, we could tailor this to any one stock, right? You could look at Tesla. Tesla's down 80% in 13 months, right? Tesla, we're talking about a multi-trillion, or half $1 trillion, multi-billion-dollar market cap company, and it's down 80% in a little over a year. So 80%, 90%, 99%, it's all brutal, right? Unless you sold at the tippy top, and now you're all cash. But like I said, Hexo is no different. If you go from the all-time highs, it's down 99%. If you go from February 2021, it's down 99%, right? Definitely worse than a name like Tilray, but Tilray from its all-time high is down 99%, and from February 2021 highs, it's down 96%. So 96%, 99%, if you had to choose, which one are you going to pick? Well, obviously, I'd rather be down 96%, but at the end of the day, if you had a $100,000 portfolio here in February 2021 and you didn't sell, it'd be worth $4,000. And in Hexo, if you had $100,000 in February 2021 and you didn't sell it, it'd now be worth about $1,000. So if you had 100 grand into 4 grand or 100 grand into 1 grand, does it really make a big difference? Like it's still terrible, right? And same thing with Tilray. Tilray's at a new 52-week low. It's getting close to its all-time low at 243. We hit 252. So we came within 9 cents of an all-time low for Tilray, right? So it's not just Hexo. It's not just Canadian MJ. It's US MJ, it's retailers, it's everything, right? So hopefully that puts it into perspective. Definitely, there's risk. Hexo has definitely been one of the more harder hit names, but that also is because I think Hexo has a lot of retail investor attention. And what do we know is usually the names that have the most investor attention are the ones that get beaten down the most, right? So I feel for you, Goldie. I know it's tough, but if you just kind of zoom out and look at the macro landscape in the whole industry, in the whole MJ space, you'll realize that Hexo is just par for the course, right? Yes, it's definitely taking a bigger beating, but CGC new all-time low, new 52-week low, getting close to all-time lows. Not as close as Tilray, but Tilray, 9 cents away from all-time lows and 52-week low, right? It'd be way different if Hexo was at new all-time lows and down 99% when the rest of MJ was like at all-time highs, or you know what I mean? Like it'd be, I'd definitely be more, what's the word I'm looking for? I'd definitely be more critical of Hexo if that were the case, right? But it's not. Even, like I said, even names that are doing extremely well, that are cash flow positive, like GTII, right? Green Thumb, from its all-time highs, it's down 80%, right? So even the names that are profitable, that have great financials and fundamentals, they're down 80%. So pick your poison, right? 80 to 90%, it's just par for the course, right? And that's because the whole market moves together because it's a nascent industry, right? Everything, when we're in a bull market, everything's in a bull market. When we're in a bear market, everything's in a bear market, right? And let this be an opportunity to learn so that the next time we're in a bull market, you'll realize that probably everything's going to go up together. And then the next time that we stop the bull market and we enter a bear market, everything's probably going to go down together, right? And that just helps you, just deal with everything a little bit better for sure, in my opinion. I'm in the USA and won't be able to buy, but I can still sell even when the share price goes up. Yeah, exactly. So like I said, if there's a cutoff date, if it does get delisted, if a name gets delisted, you can wait for it to go up and then sell, or you can wait, see if it gets delisted, and then you'll be forced to sell. If you don't sell, they'll automatically sell it for you into USD, right, into your foreign currency. Now is actually the time to enter the stock market. Absolutely. I definitely, when there's blood in the streets, there's no shortage of despair out there in the markets. Like I said, when I did this video on Tesla, I said Tesla was targeting about $85. I said 100 because it also lined up with a fib level there at the 0.786, which is at like $99. And then the head and shoulders target on the monthly was targeting $85. And we still haven't even seen the monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, which means we could see more downside. So when I made that video, people were saying, oh, like, screw you and your charts and your technical analysis. I don't care what you say. There's no way Tesla's going, but one person said there's no way Tesla's going below $140. And then within like a week, it hit, or like a couple weeks, it hit 108, right? And there's still no bottom in sight. And we don't have any monthly support all the way down to $23, right? So that just goes to show you that nothing goes straight up in a straight line forever. And we could be heading to monthly oversold. We're not even monthly oversold on the RSI yet. If we did get to monthly oversold, that'd probably put us in the 70s, more than likely. Maybe even into the 60s, right? But I would agree with you on that, Boris, that, you know, if something's down 80, 70, 80%, that might be a good idea to start buying in. But keep in mind that, yes, we're down 80%, but if we go back to monthly support, that's another 80% drop, right? That's 80% from 80%. So if you put $1,000 into Tesla and it goes back down to its monthly support, then you'd only have a couple $100, right? Or a few $100. So just realize that, okay, I'm buying now. There's a high probability, probably 99% chance, if not more, that I'm not going to buy the bottom. So just be aware that if you buy it and you're investing, you're not trading, right? There's a difference between trading and investing, right? If you're trading, you're setting a stop loss, you're ending near support, you're going short near resistance, and you're going long near support, you're using a stop loss, right? And you mitigate that risk. You say, okay, I'm going to risk 5% to make 10% or 20% on this trade, right? Tesla was a great opportunity for a day trade. I said, look at 100 psychological. You can start to add here around 108. We were heavily oversold on the daily and the weekly. I said to people in Power Group community, not a bad idea to start scaling into Tesla with a stop below 100. I did the same thing back here, right? When we were at 200. You could do the same thing off 200. We got as low as 198. So you could have set your stop at like 195 and then essentially risk $5 to make 18 to 20%, right? So if you entered near 200, that's about, you're risking like a couple percent, or like, 2 to 5% to make 20%. That's a great trade, but that's not investing. If you're investing, you need to expect prices to go down from where you bought it at, right? So if you're buying Tesla now, there's a good chance it could still drop another 20, 30, 40, maybe even 80% from where you buy in, even though we're still down 80%. So that goes to show you that, we just slowly start to buy the dip, right? We slowly start to average in. Many people do things differently. There's no right or wrong way. There's only your way, or whatever way you feel is most comfortable for you, whether you're a trader or an investor, right? I do some trading, but I'm mostly just an investor. I don't need the 5%, 10% gains. Like I said, I've got enough money now that if I never made another dollar my entire lifetime from investing, I wouldn't really care. Like I don't need to, I don't need to rely on day trading or 5 to 10, 20% to get by and to pay my bills. So I'm not like, there's people who day trade for a living, not knocking that, right? Power to them, all the power to them. I hope they do well, and I'm sure there's tons that do, but I would say probably 95% of people who consider themselves a day trader lose money, right? It's the same with anything. And it's very, very difficult. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. Whereas investing, in my opinion, is very, very simple. You just buy when it's low and you sell when it's high. I'm not looking for 5, 10, 20, 100% gains. I'm looking for 1,000% gains, or like 100x, right? 100x returns. I'm looking at invest a few thousand and then turn that into a few 100,000, right? I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to pay my bills, to make small taco gains. and to day trade. That's just not my style. I don't like being behind the computer for a prolonged period of time. And if you're day trading, you're pretty much stuck to your computer for the whole day, or for as long as it takes to hit that quota or whatever your goal is for that day, right? If it's 5%, or you want to make 10% that day, or maybe it's 1% or 2%, depending on how much money you're using, right? But if you're also using 100 grand and your goal is to make 1%, which is $1,000 a day, you're also at very high risk, right? You could easily lose a couple $1,000s a day, right? Whereas if you invest $1,000 and 1% isn't really going to really do anything for you, right? It might pay for a small meal or something like that. So everybody's situation is different. And if you're investing, yeah, I would agree. Now's a decent time to start averaging in. But like I said, Tesla could even drop another 80% from current levels and just be at its next monthly support. But you have to keep in mind that what if SPY does something similar to the .com days and we end up seeing this fractal play out, which I think is very, very probable, and that we're likely heading to monthly oversold. If SPY heads to monthly oversold, the S&P 500, that's probably going to put us in the low 200s, right? Which means another 40% of downside from current levels, right? So if the S&P 500 goes down 40%, what's that going to mean for individual names, right? Individual stocks and crypto. That's probably going to mean another 80% of downside, which would, kind of line up well with Tesla, because that's rated under support at $23, which would be another about 80% of downside, right? Because when a broader market ETF like the S&P 500 is down, we can expect individual names to be down double, if not triple that, right? On average. So again, just realize that this might only be half of the sell-off in the broader market. Right? If you start to buy now, and MJ might be a different beast because we've been in such a long bear market and we've been down 99% from all-time highs, and we could potentially be entering reform. MJ might be one of the best performing asset classes going over into the next couple of years, right? It could be. Not saying it will be, but it could be. Have the money to average down, just careful not to chase the falling knife. What could you see Hexo going in to the next year? Appreciate the update, Rods, and Happy New Year. You bet. Happy New Year to you as well. Appreciate you joining the stream. So I would say, if you're looking to average down, if you're not comfortable yet, maybe you want to wait until it regains NASDAQ listing compliance, right? Maybe, I'm not sure if you're in the US versus Canada. Like we mentioned, that changes things as well. If you're on Robinhood and it gets delisted, that's a problem, right? So it all depends. Definitely, catching a falling knife is a trader mentality, though. When you hear catching a falling knife, that's like 99%. That term is used by traders, right? Because it means you have a amount that you can lose, right? It's usually you set out like, okay, I'm only going to lose 5% or 10%, right? The falling knife comes from that trader mentality. Whereas an investors almost want lower prices, right? They're almost happy to see lower prices because it's almost laughable. Like, imagine people who invested in Amazon and caught the falling knife, the quote unquote falling knife, when Amazon was down 95% in 2000, right? Today, they'd be like, oh my God, right? Like, I got people message me all the time. Can't believe you're still like promoting MJ or this company or whatever. Well, guess what? There's probably no shortage of trolls and people when Amazon was down 95% and it wasn't selling Schedule 1 federally legal drugs, right? And then it went from those levels and it went up 63x, right? From those lows. So, sorry, 634x. So $1,000 into $634,000. So from 2001 to 2021, in 20 years, you would have seen $1,000 into almost $1 million, right? But that's just Amazon. Then you got crypto. Crypto is the highest risk, highest reward asset class in the planet. Next is MJ, in my opinion. But look at crypto. Look at the gains that Cardano had in not even 2 years. It had 181x. So $1,000 in March 2020. And a couple years later, it would have been worth around 170 to $200,000, right? So it took Amazon 20 years to do. Cardano did it almost in like a quarter of that time, right? but it's down from its all-time high now. After that massive run, it's down 92%. And look how far we are above March 2020 levels. Cardano could still drop 93%, and we'd just be at the levels that we were in March 2020, right? So we're down 92% from the all-time high. And then another 92% from the lows of March 2020 and the all-time lows. So that really, I think that can put things into perspective for you. That, when you see something down 92%, that doesn't mean that, oh, this has got to be close to the bottom, because just looking at this chart, we could easily drop another 80 to 90%. And then same with Tesla. Tesla is down 80%, but it could easily drop another 80% down to its support on monthly, right? So hopefully that kind of puts things into perspective. But, in my opinion, Hexo down 99% from its all-time high. We're at all-time lows. Now would be, I'm averaging down right now. But again, I can't tell you what to do, but I think that MJ into 2023 is really going to start to turn the page, especially into 2024. And I think that, we could see federal legalization over the next couple of years, whether it be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I don't care. It's all money that I was willing to let sit. I didn't need it. It wasn't money that I needed to pay the bills. Wasn't money that I needed for gifts, for providing for my family or anything like that. It's all money that I don't care. It's water under the bridge. I'll just let it sit. I'm diversified. I'm continuing to dollar cost average into Tilray. I bought some MSOS the other day. Tilray. I bought some Hexo. I bought OGI. I bought High Tide. I bought GTII. I bought Curaleaf. Right? I have a lot less USMJ in my portfolio at the moment, but that's just because it's down a lot less from its all-time highs, right? Like if some of our names in Canada are down 99% from its all-time high, and Truliev's only down 86%, it could have more room to fall as well, right? Maybe it's heading to monthly oversold. Maybe it's heading to that 90-95% like Tilray is, right? That could happen as well. So hopefully that helps. But what could I see it going to in the next year? I could see Hexo. I would say EMA 12 is a good realistic target. I would say somewhere around that $8 to $10 is possible. And that would be about an 8 to 10x, right? From current levels. We have no monthly resistance all the way up to $10.50, which also lines up there around the EMA 12. Could Hexo get delisted? Could Hexo go to zero? That's possible too, right? We need to be, but again, that's why diversifying, having multiple different investments, not just in Canada and the US, but not just producers, you have retailers, ETFs, all of those things, right? So hopefully that helps. I already have a plan. I'll keep defending that $1 mark for now. Absolutely. Happy New Year, Rod. Happy New Year. Appreciate it. Billy Hunter, Hexo not getting another penny from me, but I'm not selling. Hopefully it's still around next year. Well, again, and that's completely fine too. If you've invested more than you're willing to lose to this point, then that's probably a smart idea, right? But if you're like me and you saved a ton of cash, if you had a hedge position on the S&P 500, if you were prepared for this, then you don't mind averaging down, because I still haven't broken the golden rule, which is investing more than I'm willing to lose. Yes, I'm down over 90% on my Hexo long-term investment, but it sucks. But I'm also happy at the fact that it's not just Hexo, it's other names as well. Tilray's down 96% from February 2020 on highs, and I'm happy at the fact that, oh my God, U.S. legalization hasn't even happened yet, and it's going to. It's an inevitability, in my opinion, not a possibility. It's an inevitability, and I'm just looking at it for what it is and saying, oh my God, I got all this time to accumulate and to buy at these absurdly low prices, right? It goes back to, like I said, imagine the people who invested in Amazon when most people were saying, oh my God, I can't believe you bought Amazon. It's down 95%. Are you crazy? And then it goes on and does this move, right? So these people who are visionaries, who saw it for what it was, and that the internet was barely even just beginning, when most people were saying, oh, the internet will never amount to anything more than the fax machine. Well, how wrong were they, right? So the people who are laughing and trolling right now at MJ prices at these levels, as long as you're diversified, right? It wasn't the first internet companies didn't really stand the test of time, like Pets.com. where are they today? They're nowhere. It took multiple years for the winners to really shine through, right? And it's the same thing with MJ. As long as you're diversified, right? What if it goes on to do another move like that? What if it pulls an Amazon and goes off to do something like that, right? And it goes up to hundreds of dollars, right? So for me, I'm just, like I said, it's easy for people to get very upset at the price and, disappointed and depressed, like, emotional. But like I said, there's two sides to every coin, and you can look at it and say, okay, well, this is an opportunity. I can't believe how low these valuations are, right? And that's actually when that's what makes investors great investors, is knowing that things are undervalued and buying when there's blood in the streets, right? Can you look at MedMen? Patrick says, thanks. Yeah, so MedMen, I do have them a small position. Right now, it's, I think, like just a couple $1,000s I have invested into MedMen. And this is one of those names where I do not care if this thing goes to zero. I don't care. It's at 2 cents. It was at 1.5 cents, basically as close to a zero as you could get. It was the same thing with ADA, Cardano. Cardano was at 1.7 cents, and then it went to $3.16, right? Went up almost a $1,000 investment in a couple years was worth almost $250,000, right? Went as close to zero as you could possibly get. MedMen, basically the same situation at 1.5 cents. If this thing goes to $3, that's $1,000 into $250,000 almost, right? So I'll easily throw $1,000 or $2,000 into this thing and watch it go to zero. I do not care. Do I need $1,000 or $2,000? No, that's less than 1% of my net worth. I don't care about losing that $1,000. And I know what the most amount of money that I can lose is, right? It's the same thing with like, Warren Buffett or Mark Cuban. When they invest $300,000 into a stock or a company in an angel investment or an early investor, the most they can lose is $300,000. But he could make $3 million. He could make $300 million. He could make $3 billion, right? Depending on how good that investment is. But he knows from the second he enters that $300,000 is less than 1% of his net worth, right? And he could care less if that $300,000 goes to zero. So MedMen, if you bought it there at 1.5 cents and it goes up to all-time highs, that's 642x. That's $1,000 into $642,000. So I'll take those risk to rewards all day long. We know that Tilray is looking to potentially acquire MedMen through its convertible debt, just like Hexo. And if Hexo and Tilray and MedMen were all to work together in the long run, this could end up being a massive opportunity. But like I said, I do not care. I put a couple $1,000s into this thing. I'm probably not going to invest any more than that, though, because you don't need to, right? Even if it goes back to February 2021 highs, right, you're looking at 120x. So a $1,000 investment into $120,000. If my $2,000 MedMen investment goes to February 2021 highs here at $1.83, that's $2,000, right, into like $500,000. So I'll take those risk to rewards all day long. But MedMen, no monthly resistance all the way up to about 23 cents. And just like most MJ, just, getting completely destroyed over the last couple of weeks and months. But it did see a pretty big move there. It went from 4.5 cents all the way up to 7 cents, so almost 100% gain, right? So hopefully that helps. But yeah, I like MedMen. Isn't one of my most favorite, but in terms of risk to reward, like I said, I'll easily put $1,000, $2,000 into this thing and kiss goodbye. I'm just going to let it ride. It'll either go to zero or I'll hold it until it's life-changing wealth, right? Just being diversified. And that's why I'm saying, like, you don't need to invest $10,000 or $100,000 or even $1 million into an MJ company to see life-changing gains, right? Especially when we're at these kind of valuations. Rod, happy New Year's Eve from California. All in on MJ, Tilray, Team Hexo. You bet. Thanks, Chris. Happy New Year's Eve to you as well. Happy New Year from Edmonton. Wishing you a great year ahead, and you and your friends and family as well. Coming from being a Zenobus investor, I can see Tilray acquiring Hexo and ending up with a few Tilray shares one day. Yeah, that's a possibility as well, Hunter, as well, right? Like we could easily see Hexo get acquired by Tilray. But personally, I think that if it was going to happen, it would happen by now. Tilray is just a debt holder at the moment. So they're nothing more than a debt holder. And until they convert those that convertible debt into equity, there's no reason to think that they're going to merge. So until there's news that Hexo or Tilray starts to convert that debt into shares, into equity, then we can start to speculate, right? But that's an opportunity, that's a potential as well. But at the end of the day, if Tilray is going to be here in 5 to 10 years or 20 years from now and have a market cap of $100 billion or $200 billion, would we really care if our Hexo shares turned into Tilray shares? Because that would probably mean 100x or 1000x opportunity. So whatever your portfolio is at now, so my MJ portfolio is probably worth, I'd say $20,000. I'm down around $50,000 in my MJ portfolio as a whole. So if that's $100,000 or 100x opportunity, if my portfolio on MJ right now, the dollar value, even in this bear market, is worth $20,000, 100x is 2 million, right? What if it goes 1,000x, right? What if we go from $1 billion market cap to $1 trillion or 100 billion, right? That's 100x, 1,000x, right? So $20,000 in 5 to 10 years, are we really going to care if Hexo shares, convert into Tilray shares, and then in 10 years time, 20 years time, Tilray is not worth $2, it's worth $200. Are we really going to care, right? So that's what we need to come to terms with as well. But what if Tilray and Hexo end up being the Microsoft and Apple? If you remember, in 1997, Apple almost went bankrupt, and then Microsoft invested $150 million into Apple. They saved them from bankruptcy, and then they both went on to shape the industry together, and now today Apple's worth more than Microsoft. What if that sounds very similar to what Tilray just did for Hexo? They invested like $180 million, which in today's money is probably around less than what, it's probably with inflation and everything, that's probably less than what Microsoft put into Apple. Well, what if Hexo goes on to pull an Apple and becomes more profitable or more valuable in terms of market cap than Tilray? Right, that could happen as well. So you need to plan for both of those scenarios. So if you only own Tilray, and if you only own Tilray and it ends up being the Microsoft and the Apple of MJ, well, you're still going to do fine just holding Tilray. If you only own Hexo and Hexo ends up being the Apple of the internet days, well, then you're going to do just fine. But if Hexo doesn't, then you might be better off like owning both. That's why I own both, right? But I own more Hexo, full disclosure, than I do Tilray, right? But I'm looking to add more Tilray than I am Hexo into the new year. I'm looking to add more US MJ than I am Hexo into the new year, right? So personally, I'm indifferent. I don't care if they merge, if they don't. I prefer if they would remain two public independent companies, which the companies have both said that they believe will be the case. And in my opinion, if it hasn't happened now, I don't know if it ever will happen. Because there's been many times Tilray tried to buy Hexo for $3 a share back in November of last year. They could have easily merged again when they did this refinancing in the strategic alliance. There's been multiple times for them to lock arms and join forces, and they haven't done so yet. So I'm in the camp thinking that they're probably going to stay two public, separate, independent companies. I own 6 different MJ companies. If Hexo gets listed, I know I'll make it up in other MJ. Yeah, exactly, right? So that's just having that peace of mind. And I've got, I think it's 15 different MJ positions now at the moment, right? So if one goes away, who cares, right? It's a learning opportunity. You're diversified. You didn't invest any more than you're willing to lose. And again, if you're not somebody who has that to say, well, now you know what to do next time, right? Now, if we enter a new bull market, maybe you take profit, or maybe you de-risk a little bit. Maybe you sell half and keep the rest, or in the next bull market, in the next bear market, you're going to be able to weather the storm a little bit better. You're going to keep cash on the sidelines. You're going to buy a short position on the S&P 500 as a hedge. You're going to maybe dollar cost average a lot more slowly, right? Maybe you went like me over the last year or so. Maybe you averaged in a little bit too quickly, but I didn't really care that I averaged in too quickly because I still had a very, very large cash position to continue to dollar cost average down. And then I had a short position on the S&P 500, right? So all of these things can help you sleep at night. So, but yeah, what turned into be a 20 to 30 minute stream ended up being an hour and 40 minutes. Like I said, I started off pretty emotional. For anybody that is still with us, like I said, a friend of mine messaged me today, and a pretty heartfelt message. And here I am getting a little emotional again, but I'm not going to lie, over the last couple of weeks and stuff like that, you start to get in your own head, and my problems are, why do I have to go through this problem, or why me, why this, and why now? And then, you get a message on New Year's Eve from one of your good friends saying that they've been diagnosed with cancer. And just, yeah, it really puts things into perspective, right? And then, just looking at investing or money and all these material things, and you can't take it with you when you go. So just be grateful for your health and having, friends and family and being fortunate. There's tons of people out there who are less fortunate than us. And yeah, it's a strange world we live in. And, it continues to, I've never been, more thankful to be where I am in life. And like I said, I know there's a lot of people out there that are less fortunate than I am. I know there's a lot of people out there who are way more fortunate than I am as well, but we don't need to compare ourselves to anybody else. We just need to be grateful and thankful for what we got, and have that attitude of gratitude, and good things will come our way at the end of the day, right? And just continue to remain positive. So, like I said, a little bit of a different format today, but I didn't do any videos for the last little while, and I'm probably not going to be doing any as I'm going to be in Florida and visiting my family. Going to be not going to be doing any videos, just going to be specifically focused on spending time with family and friends, and enjoying the downtime. And we'll hit 2023 running into the second or third week of January. So that's my plan. And like I said, appreciate every one of you guys and gals that are joining us and supporting me along the journey. I'll continue to support you. And like I said, it goes both ways. Glad that you're able to learn some tips and tricks, and any kind of experience or knowledge that I'm able to pass on. I've had tons of people that I've been learning from as well. So very appreciative of that. And I wish you a very great New Year's Eve and Happy New Year to your friends and family, your loved ones. And I wish you the best year ahead. Looking forward to what the next couple of years have to bring for all of us. I think we're going to be rewarded handsomely, and we're going to be glad that we stayed the course. So thanks again for joining us in the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rob with Power Group. Happy New Year. Let's make 2023 the best one yet. And I love and appreciate every single one of you. Take care.